Welcome to the Bothering Strangers podcast. My guest today is comedian Big Irish J. He has currently three podcasts. He has the Aska podcast with Kevonstage, the Hollings Worthless podcast, and his new one, Love in Black and White, which is now they're all out on all major podcast platforms. Big Irish J, how are you doing?
Good. Aska, I don't think is a podcast anymore, though. But it is on YouTube and on Kev's Patreon. But everything else you said, you fucking nailed it.
Thanks, man. I should have done more research. That's
You're
what
fine.
it means. How often I've since you have like a stage name, like my stand-up comedy name is Max Heering, which is my name, but since you have Big Irish J, how often when like people see you after a show or maybe you get recognized, do they call you J or Big Irish J? What do you normally get called?
After a show, they usually won't be like, call me any name. They'll just be like, you're funny, or can we take a picture or whatever. But out and about, like I've had people like, are you Big Irish J? Yeah, people say, or Big Irish. That's, hey, Big Irish. And so I'm like, hey, what's up? It's not usually just Jay or Jason, my government name.
Jason, your government name?
Yeah.
Only your mom calls you that when you're mad, though.
Yeah, full name. Oh, you got a call. Look at you. Doing business. Have your secretary get it.
I'm booking more guests as we're on this podcast.
Yeah, exactly.
In the second episode, I think I got 3 calls during the whole episode. They just kept on coming through, and I was like, well.
And you still have a house phone?
Yeah, it was my parents' house that I live in,
Yeah.
so I don't have a landline, but they have a landline. So I don't want people to think I personally own a landline. That would be ridiculous.
You're like, what are we in 1950?
I'm gonna send a fax soon too.
Yeah, exactly.
What's with the evolution? I mean, you're 6'8", you're
Yep.
Irish, and your name's Jay. But like, what's the evolution of like the name Big Irish Jay?
So my last name's Hollingsworth or Hollingsworth, depending on how you want to pronounce it. And not even before comedy, you tell somebody, or I would tell somebody my last name, and they'd go Hollandworth, Hollandworth, and it was just all this. It would just keep going. And so Big Irish J was a nickname that I had actually working at Yahoo. Before comedy, I worked at Yahoo.
As a writer?
Big Irish J. No, I started out as a tech support rep in the small business division. Then I became a supervisor. Then I was an operations manager. Again, this is like 20 years, 15, 16 to 20 years ago. It was a long time ago.
Yeah, a little while ago.
And so Big Irish J was just hard to mess that up. And it's also easier to remember. Like if you're like, I'm Big Irish J, and then somebody thinking about it later, like, what was that big dude's name? Big Irish, and then it's easy to spell,
What about being in Boston? Because like you spent a large chunk of your life like living in Boston and like huge Irish population there.
Oh yeah.
Did that resonate? Did that help you? Did it hurt you?
I don't think people gave a fuck either way. It was I started comedy in Boston and yeah, I'm trying to think. I don't know if it necessarily. I mean, no, it'd be more just like if you're there and you're a comic from Boston, that might resonate more. Like, I was a Boston comic, and we're in Boston. That might more resonate than he's Irish. Except for on St. Patty's Day, then people like it.
Yeah, no, that would make sense for sure.
Yeah.
So what about, I mean, you're in Vegas now, and have you been doing the virtual stand-up thing? Have you been starting to actually get out there and do some in-person performances like some comedians are now?
Yeah, so I did a few Zoom shows kind of like maybe a month after the March. So I guess it would be in April. I'd done a few Zoom shows, and like it's all these new ways of doing stand-up. I kind of even if they frustrate me at first, I like it because I like the challenge of like figuring out the matrix. Like with the Zoom shows, after a few of them, I kind of got in a rhythm and figured out how to make them work for me, which is like wear headphones so you can hear the laughter, but you realize that it's got a split second delay. It's just a catching that beat, getting in the rhythm of that. I just did, but I will say with the Zoom shows, I think 15 minutes is about tops of what any comic should do on a Zoom show. Before oh my God, I did one where I headlined one. And I had to do 45 minutes, and at right about the 15-20 minute mark, I was like, okay, I don't like this anymore. I'm like, I'm kind of burnt on this. I was also doing it in a garage in Phoenix where it was like 150 degrees.
That'll get you.
Yeah. But I just did my first drive-in in Phoenix, and I haven't figured that out yet. It was my first one, and I was like, okay, I gotta figure this out. So I want to do another. I didn't necessarily enjoy it because people are in their cars. You can't hear the laughter. Most of them have their lights on you, so it's like you're just kind of looking into the void. And I don't think myself, I haven't figured out how to get them to respond, and they don't. We as comics, we have to, I guess, figure that out and then train the audience on how to let us know you're enjoying it, because it's a lot of setup, punchline, silence, and you're talking into a black void or just lights coming at you, and you can't hear anything. And there was like the second row, there were some people outside of their car, and every once in a while I could hear like what sounded like a person laughing.
Like, I know I got one.
Yeah, but you're up there, and because you can't hear the laughter, so you're not pausing for laughter. So your 45 minutes is going to go, all that material is going to go in about 30 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
And then you're like, all right, let's bring out some of the other ones. But I got off stage, and like the other comics were like, dude, you killed that. People were dying. And I'm like, that felt like nothing. That was awful. But I want to figure it out. I want to figure out how to tackle that,
It's definitely a challenge. Like in one of the previous podcast episodes with J.R. de Guzman, he talks about doing his first in-person show like in the pandemic, or that he went to Augustana University in South Dakota, and like it was in a gym, and everyone was like 6 feet apart, and it's like before the pandemic, when you perform, it's like you look at your friend to make sure they're laughing, and now you're laughing.
Yeah.
And it's like easy to tell, but he kind of said the same thing you said, where it's like afterwards he's like, I think I bombed. But he did really well. But then people were like, oh, wow, you did really well. But he was convinced he bombed.
Well, now you mentioned Kevonstage, my buddy Kev, that we have our show Aska. Kev has figured out, he's figured out how to do this right now. And so he has, have you seen any of the Keep Your Distance shows?
Yeah, I think it's brilliant having like the small crowd, but then the Zoom as well, because you can kind of have the whole thing. I think weren't you on one of them?
Yeah, I did, I think his fourth one. So for those listening that don't know what I'm talking about, so Kevonstage, very funny comic. He has a show called Keep Your Distance, and what he does is he flies comics out to LA, and he has a small crowd, maybe 20 to 30 people. So as a comic, already we're like, oh God, yes, I have an audience. I have immediate feedback. But then what he does for people around the world is he says you can buy virtual tickets and you can watch this live. So it's like you're watching a live stand-up concert, so to speak. And it works beautifully, because as comics we're doing our jokes and we're getting immediate feedback, which is what you need the most probably in stand-up, is an audience. And so you can get in a rhythm as stand-up, like it's back to how it was, like you're at a club. And then for the audience, you can live in Japan and still watch this, and you buy the ticket and you get to watch it for 24 hours. So even if you can't watch it live, you can watch it for 24 hours. It's just, and it's a lifesaver. Tony Baker had wrote, after he did the first one, he was like, Kevonstage saved my life. And I was like, I 100% get that. It's so true.
Yeah, I can see
amazing.
That. Tony Baker, Tony Baker is like one of the funniest comics I honestly know right now. He's
great.
So funny. You know who's also kind of doing something similar to Kevonstage is Matt Rife and Paula Leah are doing their low key outside where they perform from a truck bed.
Yeah,
And
I saw that.
It's pretty much the same system as Keep Your Distance comedy.
Yeah, people are figuring out. There's another one. God, I can't think of the name right now, and I'm killing myself. Bubba Kennedy's doing one, and I wish I could think of what they call it. But it's like you're on a stage, and there's just a curvature of TVs around that you can see the audience.
Wow.
Yeah, and there's no. I don't know if there's an audience there, but you can see these giant. You're wrapped in TVs of people's faces, so you can see their response. I wish I could remember the name of that because it's looks great.
I mean, people are just finding ways to kind of pivot right now. The struggle I find is that, like, for you, like, you're gonna get booked, like, with a history of being a working comic. But for someone like me, an open micer, very new, I was only at it for like a year before the pandemic, or less than a year before the pandemic started. It's like you don't have the open mics to go to.
Well, it's funny is it all is trickling down, and what I mean by that is I make my living off stand-up, or I was making my living off stand-up, but I'm not a household name, so I will headline what we call like B clubs. It's a good club, great clubs around the country, and but they're maybe not in major markets, and and then you have like A clubs. A clubs are going to have the big names, and so what's happening though is these headliners or these big names that were doing A rooms, a lot of them now are doing B rooms because a lot of A rooms haven't reopened, but B rooms have. So I'm seeing comics doing rooms that I usually headline that they probably either have never done or haven't done in 5 or 10 years, which is fine. I mean, like we'll all figure our way out. And this whole thing, I talked to a buddy of mine, a comic friend of mine called me around April or May. I won't say his name because I don't know if he wants this out there, but he hit me up and he was like, "How are you doing with all this?" And I was like, obviously I missed the stage, but overall I'm okay. Like I'm in a good place, and I'm figuring it out. And he was like, and this is a buddy of mine that's been doing it like 10 plus years. And at the time he was like, "I think I'm done." And I'm like, "What?" And he's like, "Dude, I can't, I'm going crazy. I can't." And he's good now. I've talked to him since then, and he's figuring out his way. But I was telling him, I'm like, we all just have to, you either got to pivot and figure it out, or you are going to be like, "I guess I'm done." And like what I told him is I start doing daily videos, and what we would usually use to, and I'll say this to you, I give you this as advice, is how you would used to do open mics. Start doing a daily videos, commenting on something, and work in your premise into that daily video.
Yeah.
And I do a video a day on something I see or comment on, and not all of them are like a bit I'm trying to work into the video, but there definitely has been. There was something I did a daily video on about Popeyes, and I was talking shit about how like they have the worst customer service. And then when I did Kev's Keep Your Distance show, I ended up using that as a joke, and it was a little bit more worked out. But I had never done it. Me doing it on the Kev's Keep Your Distance show was literally the first time I'd ever done it in stand-up. It hadn't run it at an open mic or anything. And it did, one person just commented the other day. She was like, "That was my favorite joke, was the Popeyes joke." I was like, "Great."
Oh, wow.
So, yeah. It's not worked out, but, yeah, we all just got to figure it out. It's such a crazy, insane time. And I don't think we'll be back to normal, whatever the new normal is, until I've been saying March. I think it'll be March.
I've been hearing longer. So that's an optimistic response, honestly. Yeah. I hope March, honestly, I really do. So are you because you've been doing the videos, like the double screen ones where it's like, you can record something and then you like respond to it. Is that are those the videos that you're referring to?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Then I'll have to figure out the technological side of it.
I mean, I'll tell you after this, I can send you like a lot of, I did a video one time of what I use, because a lot of people would hit me up and they'd be like, "Hey, what program do you use to record that?" Yeah. And it's Kind Master. There's no secrets here, but it's called Kind Master. It's on Apple and and Android. But yeah, and I'll anybody that's listening to this, if you're a comic and you have not done these daily videos before, because I asked Kev, because Kev's been doing those forever.
Yeah. He's been doing it for a while.
So yeah, and so when I was like, okay, I need, and this is before the pandemic, I was like, I need to work on my social media game. It just, for the longest, I was like, I'm a comic. I want to be known as a comic. Fuck this social media shit and blah, blah, blah. But then, again, it's like, you got to pivot. It is what it is. And so I had talked to Kev about it to get his advice on it. And I'll tell everybody that's listening to this, and you, Max, if you're thinking about starting doing that, you're going to feel so weird at first. And just accept for the first week to 2 weeks, every time you do it, you're going to be like, what am I? I'm just in a room by myself, talking in. Yeah, it's going to feel weird. Just accept it. But then you get, like, I have like a work schedule with it. Like, I have a whole routine I do literally daily, and it's I have a certain time I want to get my shit out by and all that stuff. And it's it's a job. It's just another part of the job.
I usually post at 8 a.m. or 5 p.m.
Mm.
That's just because someone who could have been lying to me was like, these are the times to post. All right, done.
Yeah.
That's what I do. Yeah, Kevin's been doing that for a while, and he's figured out the social media game on like if you don't know who Kevonstage is, look him up. He has over 1 million followers on Instagram and just so many more through all the other platforms. He has some kind of code. He's cracked a code.
Oh, dude, he's got a class, a master class.
Yes, he does.
Have you seen it?
I haven't seen it.
I bought it.
Was it worth it?
Yeah, dude, he's one of my best friends, and I will support Kev just as Kev supports so many people, like by buying their stuff. So I bought the thing, and yeah, it's crazy. It's really good.
It's hard too. Like, growing social media is like, it's a lot harder than it looks.
Yeah, it's a trip. I was gonna post a video the other day because I am low man on the totem pole of my peers as far as social media followers. Like Tony Baker, Tahir, Kev, my friends are in millions, hundreds of thousands, millions. And I, the other day, I broke 7,500, I think it was. And I was thinking about doing a video, and I was like, no, I'm going to wait till I get to 10,000. But it was literally, I think, like a year ago, I was at like 2,500. And it's like, it's such a small thing compared to my friends, but for me, it's huge.
That's a lot. That's 200%.
Yeah, and I wanted to tell people that it's like, it works. Like, you got to just be consistent. That was one of the things Kev preached, is consistency. You got to be consistent.
Yeah, I mean, it's because, like, you see them put out 4 or 5 pieces a day.
Yeah.
To me, it's like that's a week's worth,
Yeah.
But to them, they're like, run through it. What I still struggle with is, like, if I put up a video on like on YouTube or whatever, and then I go on a Snapchat to like tell people, I struggle with looking like into the camera.
Oh.
I always like to look like near the camera.
Interesting.
And then
is it an unconscious thing, or is it like you're intentionally shying away from it?
I don't know. It's hard because I can tell you this. I can tell you. I really don't know. I really have no idea. I had there was a job. I did not get the job, but it was to be an executive assistant. This was like a couple weeks ago. An executive assistant at a production company, a women's run production company, actually. And I did the interview. I get the second step, and they're like, answer this question like into a camera, like on LinkedIn, and my eyes were above the camera. Like you could tell I wasn't looking into the camera because it was too unnatural for me to be like like right into like the white spot.
Yeah.
I can't do it. I can't do it at all. And I didn't get the job, and I'm convinced that's why.
I mean, as I'm doing my videos, because like I always, like Kev does a tripod and he stands, and I think Keon Poley stands too.
Looks like you're sitting in the videos.
I'm in the chair that I usually do the videos now, but I've always done it where I'm sitting because I want to be relaxed and comfortable, and so I always am here, and then sometimes I'll look away because a lot of it's just I'm kind of ranting in the moment, and then I edit it. I'll cut out the horse shit.
Yeah. To hear more, whenever I watched just like one today that he did that was hilarious about like these people in Florida rallying in a Target against masks. And what he always does is, if you're not watching this, I guess you won't understand it as much, but like it or if you're just listening to this, he always like whenever he gets upset, he just looks away, just turns his head and just shakes.
Yeah. Here's the best.
It's just like disgust, it's surprise, it's a bunch of different things coming together.
Oh yeah.
All at once. I love it. Okay, I need to ask you this. I need to ask you this. If you're watching this on YouTube, you see that Jay has a lot of sports logos behind him. How many places have you lived in your life?
Let's see. Okay, yeah. So that's Portland, Seattle, Sacramento, Tampa Bay, Boston, LA, Phoenix, and Las Vegas. So what is that, 8 there?
8.
And those are just like specific cities, but like I lived all over Seattle area at different times, and same with Oregon. I lived in Portland, Hillsboro at one point, Northeast Portland, Southwest Portland, and
been around.
What's up?
You've been around Portland.
Yeah. It's my parents, they divorced before. I don't even remember them being together, and so I bounced around a lot between like my dad's, my mom's, my grandparents, and then as I've grown up, I've lived all over the place. I think I went to 13 schools growing up.
Were you in a military family?
No. Wow. No, just a dysfunctional one.
We're all in dysfunctional families on some level, but like
exactly.
That's a lot of dysfunction.
100%. Yeah, it's I think that actually helped me as far as comedy, because being the new guy, you learn people, when you're at a new school and new people, and so I think it in the grand scheme of things, it helped with comedy.
What was your favorite place that you've lived in?
Boston and Seattle. When Seattle is like sunny, I will put it up against any city, like one of the most beautiful places you can live. There's so much rain though, like the stereotype. What's funny is whenever people visit Seattle, for whatever reason, it seems like whenever a person visits Seattle, it doesn't rain while they're there. And then they're like, I don't get it. And then it doesn't even rain here. It's so beautiful. And then you're like, yeah, fucking come live here for a month. Like I remember, we've heard of seasonal depression.
I've been to Seattle. I've experienced it too.
Dude, so I didn't think seasonal depression was really a thing
it's
until
so real.
Yeah, when I moved to LA, I'd been in LA for I think like 2 or 3 months, and then it finally rained in LA, and I was like, oh Jesus, I don't want to do anything, right? And then shortly after that, I went back to Seattle. I was in Seattle for like a month, the month of November, for like a run of shows, and it rained like the whole month, and I was like, I got to get the fuck out of here. This is just depressing.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I studied abroad in Scotland in college.
Oh God.
And what they say about the rain in the UK, it's no joke.
Yeah. London is just like the gray of it, and oh God.
Have you been to like the UK?
Yeah, I went to London, and then for a few days, and then Ireland for like a week and a half.
Yeah.
And
Same weather.
Yeah. The one thing with Ireland though that's nice is it's so fucking green that even if it's raining, it's still like, I mean, it's green everywhere,
Same thing in Scotland. It's so green, but like I visually remember a 7-day period where it never stopped raining. And it was always like a light rain, but I literally like got so used to it. You get so used to it that you forget it's raining.
Yes. Oh man.
You're living your life as if like it's just not raining.
Yeah. Dude, so when I got away from that, I was like, oh shit, okay, this is legit. I get it now.
Did you also how I feel like because of the rain, it's not very sunny in Seattle. So what I struggled with, especially when I moved there, even though I was only there for like 4 months, was like the short days plus like the lack of sun. And it's like you wake up, you open the blinds, you're like, I have to go outside today.
Dude,
like
it's depressing.
Looking like this. Yeah, it really, like people like brush up. They're like, it can't be that bad. It's that bad. It really messes with like your mental health, and like it really forces you to be resilient.
It's just gray. I mean, you're seeing gray all the time. It's just overcast, and that's why I say, like, when Seattle's sunny, it's amazing how beautiful the place is, but
makes you appreciate it so much more.
Yeah, but the weeks and months of rain, you're just like, oh God.
Yeah, I feel like I've been so privileged with the weather I've experienced growing up in Orange County my whole life.
Right.
Because like rain's like never. It's like
do you hear Joe Rogan talk about the weather in LA?
What did he say?
He was talking about moving moving, and he said something to the effect of like, Southern California, like, people are spoiled, but the weather like spoils you, and like not having it's different, dealing with different harsh weathers, it kind of makes you, I don't know, I'm paraphrasing, but it can kind of make you soft, so to speak.
It for sure does make you soft, because like California, like you've experienced this in many places you've lived in. I went to college in Kansas in the Midwest. A lot of rain, a lot of wind, good amount of snow. Like you experience everything, and like that first winter, I'm like, people live like this?
Yeah.
Like they just function. They just function with this weather.
Yeah.
So I can't count the amount of times I was called soft in my first year of college. It's so real. Oh man, I'm happy I'm not there. I'm really happy I'm not there.
That's actually where I'm going here tomorrow.
Yeah, Wichita, right?
Yeah.
I've never been. I haven't heard good things though.
Great, can't wait.
I honestly, I shouldn't say anything about it, because everyone talks poorly about it in Kansas, but like I've never been there, so who am I to form an opinion?
I'm excited. I'm doing Looney Bins, like a 3-week run of Looney Bins, and it'll be my first time performing at any of the Looney Bins, and I've heard good things, so I'm excited.
So how long are you going to be there?
Wichita for the weekend, then I go to I think it's I'm in Wichita. Then next week I go to Looney Bin in Tulsa, and then the week after that I finish in Little Rock, Arkansas.
All Looney Bins.
Yeah.
That's like such a Midwestern, like not it's just not a West Coast thing, the Looney Bin. All those comedy clubs, or like the Looney Bin clubs, it's not West Coast at all.
Yeah.
But it is necessary as a road comic.
Oh, yeah. I'm looking forward to it. I'm amped.
I need to get out. I haven't done stand-up since March. I'm like, I need to get something going.
They have an open mic here, or no, it's not an open mic. They have one show going right now.
In Vegas?
Like a book. Yeah, that's like a book show, but it's at like a biker bar. And so my buddy was like, come down. And so I was like, all right, let me see what this is at. And I walk in, and I'm like, the staff and me are the only people wearing the mask. None of the customers there or the bikers are wearing them. And I'm like, am I like a pussy because I got a mask on? But I was like, fuck this. I'm not trying to be around all this shit, So
is it, what's in Vegas? Like, what are the thoughts towards masks, coronavirus, all that stuff?
I mean, I just went to the Flamingo today to meet a friend, and everybody, they have all the signs, got to wear a mask and everything. It's just this biker bar, though. It was, it's 9, 10 o'clock at night, hole in the wall bar. So, they're probably like, what are you going to
do? Can't stop us from not wearing masks.
Yeah.
At least it's not Florida.
Yeah, dude. That video that you talked about to hear post, I was like, Jesus, people are idiots.
I wasn't surprised.
Oh no, Florida.
No. Okay. I do need to talk about this. I really do. We talked about this before. You in a video a month or two ago, you said that Larry Bird is better than Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
Man, that's a hot.
That was Kev's unpopular opinion show.
Yes, I was ready to.
Yeah, it was the point of the show is you're supposed to come with a unpopular opinion and then state your case. And mine was that Michael Jordan was not the greatest of all time. And I don't even know if I would say Larry Bird necessarily is, but my whole argument was that he would be closer to it than Jordan.
Yes. Okay. Do you actually believe that?
I think you might be able to say Jordan was obviously Flash, Jordan's much more fun to watch,
yes.
And I might even argue that Jordan was a better offensive player, like for better scorer. But if you're saying an all-around better player and also who's going to make their team better, I mean, winning wise, I would say they both are winners.
Yeah, for sure.
But I'm like, and some of the arguments will be, oh well, Bird had these Hall of Famers around him, and my argument might be, well, yeah, that's because Bird made players around him better. You could use that argument.
Turn it on its face.
Yeah, I mean, would he have had those all-stars around him if he wasn't there? I mean, or would they have been all-stars without him there? Because I mean, Bird averaged more assists than Jordan, more rebounds. I mean, obviously he probably should have averaged more rebounds than Jordan, but assists. I mean, he averaged more assists. He shot better from the line, better for 3-point. The turnaround of the team before Bird was there versus his rookie year, it was the greatest turnaround in NBA history.
He had an incredible rookie season.
Yeah, I mean, they went from, I think, worst in the league to, I don't know if they had the best regular season record, but it was up there. And yeah, I mean, that was my argument, and yeah, people came for me, and it was fine. But,
oh no, they really came.
Yeah.
They were like, normally on unpopular opinions, like there's not a lot of anger. There was like a lot of anger towards you, and like people calling you racist immediately.
Yeah. I mean, and that they're all friends, and we're all messing around. But and also it was right after the Jordan documentary aired.
Oh, it was after The Last Dance.
Yeah. Oh, here's another thing. If you want to talk about as a basketball player, basketball knowledge or whatever, Larry Bird, I think, also is the only person to ever win league MVP, finals, or MVP, coach of the year, and executive of the year, which he won all three of those.
Well, I would say he's a top 10 player of all time. I would say that. I would also say he's a better fundamental player than Michael Jordan is, because he had to be, though. Like, he had to shoot better because, like, he wasn't as athletic as Michael Jordan. So he had to, like, kind of make up for, like, certain things about being, like, the slow guy.
And also a lot of people always, they talk about Bird's back, but that happened in the summer of '85, literally half of his career. So half of his
over half his career.
Yeah, he was injured, or he had that injury.
For 8 seasons, he was nursing a back injury.
Yeah. So, I mean, and he won a championship after injuring it. So I'm like, I don't know.
What would you say? Could you name the top 10 NBA players?
What if I just named all white players? It totally comes up
Luka Doncic, Jokic.
Okay, so who would I say? I hate him because he's a rival, but LeBron is up there. Obviously, it's also one of those things where I can't stand LeBron because I think he's a whiner, and there's certain things that drive me nuts about LeBron. But if tomorrow you told me he got traded to the Celtics, I'd be like, I fucking love him. Yeah,
is he number one?
Well, I mean, if I've got to keep with my argument, I'd put, like, if you're saying, okay, I'm starting a team tomorrow, and who do I pick in their prime?
In their prime.
Ooh, God.
Throw out the argument you just made about Larry Bird too. Like, throw that out. Put him wherever you.
No. Yeah, man. Do I go for an athletic big, which are probably harder to? Man. If I'm starting a team tomorrow,
actually, you know what? Throw out the positions. Even just top 10 guys. Like you're not. You're
okay.
just putting your.
I would put. Okay. All right. In no order, not in order. But just 10 guys.
Don't get
I'd put Pippen up there. Pippen, LeBron.
Pippen's on top 10?
I put Pippen in the top 10 just because both sides of the ball. I mean, his defense, I remember him just in Magic Johnson's ass and shutting him down, and also how drained he was after trying to guard him. Okay. I would put LeBron, Pippen, Jordan, Bird. There's 4 right there, up there. And I put God, because I put a lot on defense too. I love like guys that are really good defensive players. That's why I named Pippen so quick. Is just
right
of his defense. Probably in his prime, I'd probably grab Shaq when he could run the floor.
Oh yeah.
Dominant.
Like in the early Laker days.
Orlando.
Oh
When he
yeah,
was
really Orlando.
dude. So that's 5 right there. Whew. Kobe. I gotta put
Gotta
Kobe in
get
there.
Kobe. Gotta do Kobe.
Uh, the big fundamental. I put Tim Duncan up there.
Ooh, that's an interesting one right there.
He's not flashy, but dude, that guy. I
You
mean,
can ball.
Jesus.
You can
Oh
ball.
yeah. What is that? 6 or 7?
I want to say you're at 7.
Good. Then I can.
Only
Yeah, I feel like there's a tall small forward I'm leaving out.
you're getting too technical with this. Like for me, I would just throw out the top 10 guys I could like think of.
Yeah, I'm thinking like all around, and I'm thinking about like for the team. Yeah, okay, let me fucking quit overthinking it. Do I have a small quick let's come back to it. Let me come back to it.
Let me come back to it. I'll throw you my 10.
Okay.
Well, or like just like, again, no particular order.
Yeah.
I'd have to think way too long about that. LeBron, Michael, Kobe, Magic.
Yeah.
John Stockton. That passing is insanity to me. Larry, Steph Curry. Just like it's ever since he's been healthy,
Yeah.
amazing. I would not do Pippen, although I do like him as a player. I would not put Pippen on that list. Man, I'm stuck at 7 too. I thought I was going to be so much better at this.
I mean, the Bulls, after they got rid of Jordan, they only lost 2 more games when they still had Pippen. But then when they got rid of
Pippen really held them together.
I'm just fucking with you. Going back to my Jordan Pippen argument.
Oh no, Shaq got to get on there too. That's 8. Oh, I don't know. Honestly, I'm not gonna put Luka because he's too young. I can't do that.
I was thinking about Luka too. I might put Dirk on there just because, I mean, not known for its defense, but so hard to defend. Huh?
Not at all.
But so hard to defend. A 7-footer with a 3, Jesus. Yeah.
I kind of want to. I'm gonna put Jokic on there.
You put Jokic, but not Dirk?
Well, no, because
I mean, Jokic. Don't get me wrong, he's fucking amazing.
The only reason why is because Jokic has a better passing ability.
Yeah, dude, amazing passer.
His overall basketball IQ is so high. They're like, like the fact that he's like, I'm slow, but I'm still gonna destroy.
But you'll put him, but not Luka.
Well, no, I'm putting Luka. There you go.
I think I would put Luka. I mean, we're saying everybody in their prime, so I'm sure this isn't Luka's prime.
Yep.
But if his career was to end tomorrow and be like this was his prime, yeah, you got to put Luka.
You know who we never this? There's one guy who I really wish we got to see his prime. Drazen Petrovic.
Oh, Drazen, dude, yeah.
Because that car, so he died like before his prime, but like,
dude, Len Bias. Oh God, dude.
Yeah.
That's why I've never done cocaine. Is literally because of Len Bias. I'm not a big drug user anyways. The hardest drug I've ever done. The only thing
stopping you was Len Bias, though.
Dude, the fear, because that was like around. I think I was in high school or right after high school, and just the fear of like, because the whole story was, and I'm sure it's horseshit, but they were like, it was his first time trying cocaine and his heart exploded.
That's how it was super unlikely.
No, I know, but that's how it was like portrayed. So you're like, holy shit, I'm never fucking trying cocaine.
I just love that that's the reason why.
Oh yeah, 100%.
I was going to, but then I'm biased, so can't do it now.
Yeah. Obviously. Oh, you know what? Fuck, dude. I don't know why I'm stupid. Kareem. I have to have Kareem on there.
Oh wait, okay. You know what? You remind me of someone else. I'm gonna put Kareem on instead of Jokic, and instead of Doncic, I'm gonna put Wilt Chamberlain. We're out here talking. Wilt Chamberlain, like, we don't know how good he would have been because he played in a different era. But, like, in his era, he was the best.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Bill Russell. 11 championships.
Bill Russell, though, too. No, I'm keeping my 10.
Yeah, I mean.
If anyone remembers my 10, put it in the comments because I don't remember it.
Yeah. Kareem, though, unstoppable. The most unstoppable shot, And in his prime, Jesus. And a winner at every level.
You know what's crazy is that he could have scored 50 points a game for like 3 or 4 seasons in a row. Like if the Lakers built a system that just was like pass to Kareem, more. I mean, he could have just put up 50 on the hook.
Yeah, or you could also, oh God, but I was gonna say Pistol Pete, but his defense, he had no defense.
Yeah, there's a reason
offensively,
no one talks about it.
Dude, offensively, though, what he still has the highest. What he averaged 40 in college with no 3-point line. So crazy.
Yeah, it was he will like NBA. Obviously, like he didn't have an incredible career, but like college, I mean, probably the greatest men's college player of all time.
So crazy, dude. Oh man, I know I'm forgetting somebody that I'm gonna be. People are like, how could you not mention? I'm like, fucking. You know who was one of my favorite players that wasn't a Celtic, all time? Larry Johnson, Grandmama. I fucking loved Grandmama.
Larry Johnson.
I fucking loved Grandmama.
That's an interesting one right there. I
wouldn't. He's not in my top 10. I'm just saying. I loved Grandmama though.
I mean, yeah. Well, we're always gonna have our favorite players. Like that's.
Yeah.
I mean, if I think back to my favorites, who have I always really liked? Kevin Johnson from the 90s.
Yeah.
Always liked him. John Starks.
Oh yeah.
Stark.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. See, and they're not. They were never great players.
No. Yeah. Exactly. Brian Scalabrine.
Oh, you got it. You got to get Scal.
Alex White Mamba. How could you not put that? That's my number 1 pick.
Okay, say what you want about Brian Scalabrine. In his early years in the league, he could play though.
Oh, dude. I was living in Boston in 2008 when they won the championship. I went to the final game when they beat the Lakers, and Scally is I love him. He's the best. There's a YouTube video. I don't know if you know about this, but he became a commentator for the Celtics, and people would always talk shit. Oh, you're a bench player. You suck. Blah blah blah. So he called it the Scally Challenge or something like that. I forget what he called it, but he opened it up. He's like, anybody that think you can beat me, come on out. I don't care if you college player, NBA, whatever. And he beat the shit out of these. College players.
Yeah, he beat some D1 guys.
He was killing them. I loved it.
He played Division I, and they scored like 2 combined points on him.
Yeah, he was like, "This is to let you know the difference between a professional and you were good in college."
People just remember him from those late days, but those early days, like he had a 3-ball, he could throw down a dunk, grab a couple rebounds. Like
I love him.
He had a well-rounded game.
Oh yeah,
all the time.
Yeah, I should make that my unpopular opinion. Scalabrine is better than Jordan. White Mamba.
Alex Caruso is on a better track than Michael Jordan.
Oh yeah, dude. Yeah, fucking of course.
That would definitely be like a very solid opinion.
Yeah.
I can't believe that. Okay, so let's talk about your new podcast. Love
in Black and White. Yeah, Manny just called me. My buddy Manny Martin and myself, we're in the dating podcast game. But no, so Manny's like one of my oldest friends and dearest friends. We were roommates back in the day, and while we were roommates, he was dating a girl, and they eventually got married. But the whole point of the podcast, comedy driven, but Manny is a black guy that's always dated white women, and he's married to a white woman. I'm a white guy that's always dated women of color, and I'm single. So that's the dynamic, and we talk about, how would you handle this in a relationship as a single guy? How would you handle this as a married guy? People present questions and stuff. And we've done 2 episodes so far, and feedback, people are loving it.
Have you dated any white women?
Yeah, I'm trying to think, I'm serious relationship. I don't know if I've ever been in love with a white woman. I think I've dated. Yeah, I don't know if too serious though. Been on a few dates. Yeah, I don't know if it's been like oh, this is leading towards something. Yeah, I don't think so.
Okay, you're really thinking about that one.
Yeah, well, I mean, dude, I'm old, so I'm like, I got to think back. But like all the girlfriends, like serious relationships, none have been white.
Okay, gotcha. Have you? So, I mean, is it mainly black women you've dated, or just like?
I'm trying to think. Like, well, first girlfriend I had, she was Filipina, And then one girlfriend I had, she was Korean and black. One girlfriend I had, she was from West Africa. And
African?
she's from West Africa,
There you
yeah.
go.
From the motherland. But yeah, it's I guess it's predominantly been black women. Yeah.
In the second episode of this podcast that came out just like a week ago from the day we're recording from today, but my guest told me that he said, he's like, I think you're gonna marry a black woman.
Really?
That's what he said. Bill, he knows me like quite well, and I was like, I don't know, like I kind of was just like, oh, I'm Jewish, so I'm gonna marry a Jewish woman. So
Or Asian.
Or oh yeah, so many Jewish guys. No, especially like you don't notice how many like Jewish men are married to Asian women until you live in California, and it's like hub of Judaism, the hub of like you just got LA, like large Asian populations. Like wow, it's really real.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like I doubt it.
What if, by the way, what if I was like, what if you were like, yeah, I'm Jewish, and I go, wait, what? Just what? This is over. You didn't tell me that. You're supposed to tell me that. Just for no reason. Just so stupid. Oh God.
Oh, I can't imagine. That's too much for me.
Yeah. What if? Have you ever dated a black woman?
No. Just I mean the thing now with me is like now that I'm 23, out of college, and because I've never lived in places with a lot of black people too. That's also something I think just the demographics where you live increase your chances a lot.
100%. That's what people will say, like, oh, why do you mainly date black women or whatever? I say, well, I grew up like my grandparents is what I consider home, and I was like, it was a pretty, I guess, mixed area or black area. And I'm like, if I grew up in a all Asian area, then I'd probably date Asian women or, lean towards that.
Where did your grandparents live? Where is this?
Northeast Portland, 52nd and Killingsworth.
Is that well, Portland's like known to be very white.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's why I always joke. I'm like, I go, there's no ghetto in Portland. It always cracks me up when people are like, oh, this area, that's the ghetto. And I'm like, you mean the area where black people are? Is that what you're trying to say? And so, it was Northeast Portland was kind of known as the black area or the black neighborhood.
Is it still known as that?
No, it's been very, I don't know. I think it's, last time I've been through there, it's very gentrified. Like you go down to 15th in Alberta and I'm like, it's fucking hippies and shit down here.
Portland's a crazy place. Portland's an insane place, honestly. Like that show, Portlandia, it's real. It's like,
oh yeah,
they're not pulling any punches.
People have a very, this is one of the reasons I had to get out of Portland. Not everybody, before I get canceled, but I noticed it seemed growing up, and maybe it's different now, I don't know, but a lot of people seem to have a very content mentality. And that, like, oh, this is cool. Like, I'm fine just, I'll be fine bagging groceries until I'm 70, or whatever the thing may be. Yeah. And maybe that's the right attitude to have, and very peaceful or Buddhist. I don't know, but I've always been like, I always want to strive for trying to be the best at whatever I'm trying to do. And it just drove me nuts where I was like, you don't want more? You don't want to strive for more? No, this is cool. Like, ugh, fucking gross.
I never experienced people. I experienced people like that in my life growing up, but I never experienced it on such a level until I got to college. And which is a weird thing because you're thinking you're in college, so like you're trying to get a degree so you can get like a better job and like make more money or like do whatever. But a lot of people in college really they're in that boat where they're like, yeah, like I'll get a degree and then like I'll just work like an office job and like do it.
Well, I think also sometimes people will go to college because, they're the pressure from their parents, and they also feel like, well, that's the next step, but they really don't even know what the fuck they want to do. And so they're kind of like, I don't know, I guess this is what I'm supposed to do right now.
Yeah, I feel that's kind of crazy because like I have my opinions about college, but regardless of my opinions, I feel like an 18-year-old is not, or a 17-year-old, whatever it is, like they're not in a spot to make like a logical decision and be like college.
Yeah.
You're told to go to college, but like, what 18-year-old like wholeheartedly is like college?
Yeah.
It never happens. Did you go to college?
Dude, I went to college for like 6 months because that was the basketball season. I did like the opposite. Like a lot of people say, oh, I used sports so I could go to college. I was using college so I could keep playing basketball.
You were basketball? You are 6'8", so that helps.
I played in high school and then community college, and then I got into martial arts, and so I focused on that. And then
Man, I wish I played more basketball in high school. I wish I played. Maybe I could have gone D3.
and maybe you could have met a black girl and then started dating her.
Yeah, that definitely would have improved my odds for sure.
I'm at Big Irish J. I'm at Big Irish J on everything. BigIrishJ.com. If you're in, when does this come out? Next week?
Yeah. Let me throw it to you first.
No. Let's go like this. Don't fucking edit it. Keep all this shit in.
Oh, okay. Editing's gonna happen.
This is the real, Max. Keep this shit real. The people love the real shit. Fuck that editing. Or now you just edit it for me to go, fuck that editing.
That's the whole episode.
All right. So if this comes out next week, as you're listening to this, I'll be in Tulsa at the Looney Bin from September 23rd to the 26th. And the week after that, I'll be at the Looney Bin in Little Rock, September 30th through October 3rd. Go to BigIrishJ.com for all that. Follow me at Big Irish J. Check out the podcast. Rate, subscribe, do all that. That's all I got, Max. Don't fucking edit this.
We'll see. You got your 3 podcasts. You got Aska with Kevonstage.
Yep.
Which isn't a podcast anymore. You have the Hauling Worthless.
Haulings.
I did it.
That's why I go by Big Irish J. It's not your fault. Everybody fucks it up.
You have the Haulings Worthless and Love in Black and White on all major podcast platforms.
Yes.
And you have your shows coming up.
Yep.
All right, good. Well, thank you so much for coming on and Bothering Strangers.
Thanks, Max. I appreciate it. And it's crazy that this is what, episode 3 or 4?
4.
And it's crazy that, dude, you give your guests like $5,000. It's nuts for all the future guests. That's fucking crazy, dude. Thank you, man. And you already Venmo'd me, dude. It's awesome. All you future guests, you got to thank them, man, for that $5,000.
I pay a lot.
Don't you fucking edit this out, Max.
It's recording still. I haven't stopped it.
All right. Thanks, brother. I appreciate it. Hopefully I'll see you on the road. Or if you're ever in a town where I'm at, hit me up and I'll get you a guest spot.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, I might just...
Hopefully you don't eat shit.
Well,
then they'll be like, you gave this guy, like, it's 5 minutes. Hopefully you don't
no
fucking...
guarantees about that first.
Yeah.
But maybe I'll just start following you. Like, wherever you...
Yeah, be like fucking, what's his name? Dan, I forget his name. There's a guy that did that.
To you?
No. To a few different comics. What's it? Dan Nainan. Dan Nainan. Dude, you want to go down a rabbit hole? This is what I'll end on. You want to go down a rabbit hole? Look up Dan Nainan. There was a podcast he was on called like something Onions. Just do Dan Nainan Onions podcast and enjoy. It is a soap opera. This guy... Nainan, I think.
Nainan. Okay.
Yeah, he like lies about his age. I think he's close to 60 and says like he's like 40. He has like beef with all these different comics. So what he'll do is he'll send pictures of himself in first class going like, I'm going to a corporate event. You'll never make this kind of money. Oh, dude, it's just he bought like Russell Peters' domain, like, but with like 1 letter off. He's like an Indian comic, and so
yeah, I know Russell Peters.
What's up?
I know Russell Peters, the Canadian.
Yeah, so he would he bought like Russell Peters with like 1 L or something, like 1 letter off, and people would go to that domain. It would have all this Russell Peters shit and have a number to book, and Dan Nainan would answer it and be like, "Oh, Russell Peters isn't available, but we have this other Indian comic, Dan Nainan, that's great." And he followed around. Robert Schimmel, and would show up in cities that Robert Schimmel was like, "Hey, I'm in town again. You think I could feature for you?" And then he started calling comedy clubs and saying, "I'm Robert Schimmel's official opener." And dude, I'll say this at the end. All this is allegedly, but he also emailed fucking Mark Maron and said, "I'll give you $10,000, I think it was, if you let me do your podcast. And you can go look it up. I want you to go look that shit up, Max, and then message me afterwards and be like, holy shit, this is like Making a Murderer.
I'm going to look it up. I'm so intrigued now.
Oh, dude, you're going to love it. That's for all the listeners. Dan Nainan Onion Podcast. And enjoy.
Well,
I'm ending on that.
Ended on that. Dan Nainan Onion Podcast, as well as all your podcasts on all the platforms. I'll put them in the link in the bio.
Perfect.
This has been episode 4 of Bothering Strangers.
Thanks, Max. 5,000. I can't wait. Thanks.